interracial dating, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you come from an interracial relationship, black and white, right?
Yes.
And I've been having some thoughts about this, right? And I've been thinking about it and how we view interracial relationships these days. Now, I do believe, right, low key, there's also an agenda here. You're gonna learn this about me. I'm very conspiratorial.
I love
I
it. It's
question
great.
everything, bro. I question everything. I question myself. You know what I mean?
Your own conspiracies.
I'm like,
Did I
bro.
make this a conspiracy this morning?
I'm like, why is this nigga so handsome, man? What he do, man?
Yeah.
Nah. On the real though. Um, yeah. So interracial dating. I've noticed. I don't know if you peep this too, but media pushes that a lot more these days, right?
Mhm.
And when I say interracial dating, it's not just black and white. You know what I'm saying? It's white and Asian. Not even just black male, a white woman. You've seen the other, whereas black woman, white male. You know what I'm saying? You
Yep.
see it being highlighted more within a lot of media, right? So I want to get your thoughts of interracial dating, and I want to get your perspective as somebody who's a product of that, man. Talk to me.
Mhm. Um, interesting. I'm interested in this conspiracy. I already feel like I disagree, but but I'm excited to hear more of your thoughts.
I
To give
love it.
you the baseline of my thoughts, obviously, yeah, I'm the product of an interracial relationship. My dad is Jamaican. My mom is, I mean, Canadian. Just to put it that way, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I've dated outside. Like I grew up in a community that was mostly white. So growing up, I always considered myself black. But
Mhm.
obviously, like I'm biracial. And I would say that because of considering myself black, like my first relationship, long-term relationship, was with someone who was white. So I've been in an interracial relationship myself as well. And yeah, I mean, I don't, on one hand, I don't think there's an agenda, but on the other hand, I
Mhm.
think that there are some potential reasons why the media is showing interracial relationships more.
Mhm.
For one, okay, it's more normalized, and you'll see it more often. Like, I'm in Toronto, and it's only 8% of the population here is black, so
Mhm.
you do see a lot of interracial dating. Um, so I don't think that there's anything wrong with it as a basic sense, but I have also dated people in different communities, and have had either challenges that are not insignificant, or
Challenges. Elaborate on that.
well, you know what, it's very difficult for me being in a relationship with someone who has no foundation for my life experience. Especially if that person grew up in a place that's not diverse. So, like, I grew up in Burlington, Ontario. I think it's getting a lot more diverse nowadays compared to when I grew up. But like in my grade, I was like one of three black girls in my grade, and then there was
What?
an Indian girl, and then there was an Asian girl, and I think that's pretty much it in my class of over 300, close to 400. Yeah, so like that's where I'm coming from, and I dated someone who was within that community, and just having conversations, even like
You was
talking about
dating
like
a Kyle. You was dating a Josh, a Jacob.
Josh,
You was dating
John.
a John,
Yeah.
a Richard.
Um, yeah. I mean, he was great. His family was great, but I do remember there was, like, to give an example, like one family vacation that I like went on with his family, and we were in Mexico, and we done like all these amazing things, and I got sad because I was like, oh, like my family like wouldn't be able to ever afford doing this growing up, like, and I don't know if either of my parents. I mean, actually, they have gone on vacation since then, but at the time, like, they hadn't really taken trips or anything like that. So it was just kind of like I was feeling kind of it. I felt weird being or experiencing what for me was like luxury when my family hadn't had that opportunity. And I brought it up to him, and he got really mad at me. He was like, "Oh, you think my family doesn't work hard for this?" And like it was just a whole like, and then he's like, "It's canceled. We're not going on this boat thing." Which side note, I was happy about because I get violently seasick. So I was like, you know what, that was dramatic, but
So
I'm
if you
missing
ever
out on
take your, if
something.
anybody's listening and wants to take her out, take her to a boat right away. Take her out and
Yeah.
take her to Niagara Falls. Watch
Made
her at
the
her worst.
miss. Yeah, yeah. You'll see me at my worst, but then that'll make my best look real good. So there you go.
Message. See
Little
them at their
technique.
worst,
Yes.
and then you'll see them at their best. Gang.
That's it. That's it. But yeah, no, it was challenging from that perspective of like just and even what else happened, like, you know, even actually it was still on that trip too, like going places, and because obviously I'm a person of color, anytime like lining up for things, it didn't matter if I was first in line, they would get served first before I did. And like I made a comment about it. I even made a comment about just like some places we go and just being like, it's mad white people in here. Like there's nobody of color here. And it would just be like, oh well, like that's how the world is. And like that's it. You know, so it's just like, but if someone who grows up where that literally is the only world that they know, is, you know, like it's not to say that, I mean, I understood it. I didn't like it, obviously. And then the last thing that probably is like one of the reasons why I broke up with him was he told me that when he was younger, there was only one black kid that went to his school, and like when he was like 4 or 5, he high-fived him and like looked at his hand to see if the color came off. And then immediately was like, I regret telling you that, because my face was like, what the so anyways, interracial dating can be maddening. It can be maddening, but I don't want to say that as like a stance against it, because even though I say all those kind of situations, that I mean, to be frank, I don't know if I would date a white guy again. This is not me making a rule against it, because I'm not against it, period. But that it was challenging, and these days I've got the language to call someone out, so I also don't think that someone would want to date me if they're going to make comments like that, because it's not going to go well for you, or me,
That
really.
is a terrible girlfriend.
I'm a fabulous girlfriend. I'm such a good girlfriend. But like, if you say some shit that's wild, I'll be like, "What do you mean by that?" And we'll talk about it. Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that.
Sorry, that was a ramble. I will say on the flip side though, like in terms of like dating within certain other communities, especially within the black community, like I've had one experience where someone was clearly fetishizing me for my lighter skin.
That's huge. That's big right now.
Yeah, and like it's kind of really fucked up. Like I think, like I what are your thoughts on that? Because it came up and I didn't even know how to react. Obviously stopped seeing that person shortly after that came up, but like, because I mean, how do you, like, when you're clearly like, oh, you chose me because of this, not because of who I am, you know, like
Right.
it's not really great. But yeah, what's your perspective on that, on people valuing, I guess, the like shade of someone's skin? I guess it's kind of colorism, but
It's okay, so for one, yes, it is colorism,
I said a
right?
lot. I'm
Let's
sorry.
start off with it. It's all good. It's all good. That's the point of a podcast, man. We're supposed to
True.
speak freely and openly, and I like that. You're expressing your real life experience. It's better than being shy and giving two word answers, man. Like, you know what I
I
mean? I've
feel
had
that.
podcasts like that, and it was rough to
It's
man.
pulling teeth, and you're like, all right, let's turn up
I'm
the
like,
charm.
oh my god, man! Do I have to use all this charisma right now? I have to pull out my bag of charismatic ish. But no. I will say it like this. Yes, there is a fetishization, right? Especially as a black man, I see that, right? And I have dated interracially, yes, right? But I think that was more of a thing of my surroundings rather than what I prefer. For me, I prefer black women, right? All shades, all skin tones, as long as she is fine, good, smart, right? Has common sense, not stupid, you know what I mean? And actually chill. and she's into me, right?
Mhm.
And that's a part, right, that a lot of men, right, uh, should really pay attention to. Why is she into you? Specifically, black male. Why is she into you?
Yeah.
Is she into you because she has a fetish for you and she's only rocking with you because you're dark skinned? Because that's a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
Is she
Yeah.
into you because you're a light skinned dude? You look like Chris Brown, right? Is she into you because, you know what I'm saying, maybe you deliver insane good D? You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Why is she into you?
Just a
Right?
little plug for the D on the
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
broadcast.
saying? You have to come on, man. It's the
Of
big
course.
broadcast, man. Big
The
step up.
big
Come on.
broadcast. Yes, of course.
But on the real though, yeah, you have to understand why she's into you, right?
Mhm.
And I have had experiences where she's not into me for me. She's into me for other things. And yes, is it fun for a little bit when you're younger to deal with that? Yes. But over time, you're like talking to the shorty, you're like, what? Like you're not into me for me, and that's insulting. That's high key
Mhm.
insulting. You know what I mean? And I understand, Kyle, why you stopped seeing that person because clearly his intentions were because of your skin color, not because of who you are. Now, look, everybody's into all type of things, right?
Mhm.
But it depends on what type of relationship you want, though, right?
Yeah.
If you're both attracted to each other and you want to have fun casually, then okay, man, you could be into my nose, my ears, my eyebrow. I don't care. We're gonna just
Mhm.
have a little bit of fun, right?
Mhm.
But if you're aiming for something a little more serious, more longer term, she has to fuck with you for you,
Yeah.
right? And the inverse is right. The man has to rock with you for who you are.